beneath the elegant boulevards and glowing cafes of Paris lies another city, one that does not appear on postcards or tourist maps. It stretches silently for miles, a labyrinth carved from limestone, where time seems to hesitate and the air feels heavier with every step. This is the world of the Catacombs, a vast underground ossuary where the bones of millions rest in careful, haunting arrangements. To most, it is a curiosity, to some, an obsession. And to one unknown man in the 1990s, it may have been the last place he ever saw. The tunnels began as quarries centuries ago, hollowed out to build the city above. Over time, as Paris grew crowded and its cemeteries overflowed, the dead were moved below ground. Carefully stacked skulls and femurs formed walls that still stand today, pale and unblinking in the darkness. Officially, only a small portion is open to the public. Unofficially, there are miles upon miles of passages unmapped, unlit, and often forgotten. It is in this hidden network that the story begins. The camera was discovered by a group of urban explorers, cataphiles, as they call themselves, who ventured deeper than most would dare. They navigated narrow corridors, ducked beneath low ceilings, and followed markings left by others who had passed through before them. Eventually, they reached a section where the air felt different. Still, heavy dot, as if the tunnels themselves were holding their breath. That's where they found the camera. It was lying on the ground, coated in a thin layer of dust. The battery, somehow, still had enough life to preserve what it had recorded. There were no signs of its owner, no backpack, no footprints that stood out from the countless others that crisscrossed the floor. Just the camera, and what was inside it. The footage begins without introduction. There is no face, no explanation, no voice addressing the viewer. Only the unsteady view of a flashlight beam cutting through darkness. The man holding the camera moves slowly, carefully. His steps echo against the stone, each footfall repeating itself in soft, hollow reverberations. The light passes over walls lined with bone skulls staring outward, stacked in patterns that resemble crude mosaics. At first, everything seems ordinary, or as ordinary as the catacombs can be. The man breathes evenly. Occasionally, he adjusts the camera, sweeping the beam left and right as if orienting himself. There is no panic in his movements, no urgency. If anything, there is a quiet sense of curiosity, as though he is exploring rather than escaping. Minutes pass, the tunnels twist and branch. He chooses paths without hesitation, suggesting familiarity. Perhaps he had been there before. Perhaps he thought he understood the maze, then something changes. It is subtle at first. A shift in pace. His steps grow slightly quicker, the rhythm of his movement becoming less measured. The camera shakes just a little more, the beam of light darting rather than gliding. His breathing becomes audible. Not labored, not yet, but noticeable. As if something has begun to weigh on him. He pauses at an intersection. The camera lingers on a wall of skulls. Their hollow eye sockets seem darker here, deeper somehow, swallowing the light rather than reflecting it. For a moment, he stands completely still, listening. The footage captures nothing unusual, no voice, no movement beyond the trembling of the camera. And yet, something in his posture suggests he hears something the recording cannot. A faint noise, perhaps, or maybe something else entirely. He turns sharply. Too sharply. The flashlight beam swings wildly across the tunnel, illuminating fragments of bone, rough stone, And then darkness again. His breathing quickens. Now it is unmistakable. There is tension in every movement. He begins walking faster, almost stumbling as he navigates the uneven ground. The echo of his footsteps grows louder, overlapping with itself in a disorienting rhythm. He looks behind him once, twice. The camera captures only empty tunnel, stretching back into blackness. Nothing follows. Nothing visible. At least, then he starts to run. It happens suddenly, without warning. One moment walking, the next breaking into a frantic sprint. The camera jerks violently as he moves, the beam of light bouncing erratically off walls and ceilings. His breathing turns ragged, sharp, panicked. The sound fills the recording, drowning out everything else. He turns corners at random, no longer choosing paths with confidence. He stumbles, nearly falls, catches himself, and keeps going. The sense of direction he once had is gone. He is no longer exploring, he is fleeing. There are moments when the camera points directly ahead, and for a split second, the tunnel appears endless, a narrow corridor that stretches far beyond the reach of the light. Then it swings back again. Always back, always checking behind. As though something might appear if he looks away for too long, but nothing ever does. At least, nothing the camera captures. The most unsettling part is not what is seen. It is what is implied. The man reacts to something close, something persistent, something that follows him through the twisting corridors without ever stepping into the light. His fear is real, visceral, undeniable. It builds with every second, escalating from unease to terror with a speed that feels almost unnatural. He gasps for air. His footsteps become uneven, frantic. He mutters something under his breath, but the words are indistinct, lost in the echoing chaos of movement and panic. And then he falls hard. The camera crashes to the ground, the frame tilting sideways. The flashlight beam now points at an angle, illuminating a section of wall and part of the floor. For a moment, the man is out of view. There is the sound of scrambling hands against stone, fabric scraping, a desperate attempt to get up. Then he appears briefly in the frame, not his face. Only a glimpse of his body as he pushes himself forward, away from the camera. And then he runs again, but this time he leaves the camera behind. The footage continues, but the man does not return. For several long seconds, nothing happens. The camera remains where it fell, capturing a fixed view of the tunnel. The flashlight still shines, though its beam grows weaker, flickering slightly. The sound of footsteps fades, then disappears entirely. Silence takes its place. A deep, suffocating silence that feels heavier than any noise. There is no movement, no shadow crossing the frame. No sign of whatever drove the man to flee. Just the empty tunnel, lit by a dying light. Eventually, the battery gives out, the screen goes dark, and the recording ends. No one ever identified the man. No missing person report was definitively linked to the footage. No belongings were found to suggest who he was or why he had gone into the catacombs alone. Searches were conducted in the area where the camera was discovered. They found nothing, no body, no trace. Not even a clear path of where he might have gone. It was as if he had been swallowed by the tunnels themselves. Over the years, theories have emerged. Some believe he simply became lost. The catacombs are notoriously disorienting, and even experienced explorers can lose their way. Panic could explain his behavior: the sudden fear, the frantic running, the abandonment of the camera. Others suggest he encountered something physical, another person, perhaps. Someone who did not want to be found. But there are those who think the explanation is something else entirely. Something harder to define. The catacombs are more than just tunnels filled with bones. They are a place where the boundary between past and present feels thin. A place where silence is not empty, but heavy, dense with history, with memory. Some who have explored the deeper sections speak of strange sensations, of feeling watched, of hearing faint sounds that cannot be traced, of losing track of time. And then there is the idea of the room without sound, a section of the tunnels where echoes behave differently, where footsteps do not return to you, where even your own breathing seems distant, as though absorbed by the walls. A place where silence is not just the absence of noise, but something more profound, something unnatural. No one can say for certain if the man in the footage found such a place, or if something in the tunnels found him first.